up, everyone? Weather with Jonathan is back, and I was gone for a while because I've been sick a lot, and I've been very, very busy. But I am back. These weather updates will be smaller, but they should be a little better, and my voice should also be better in these videos because I'm they should be a lot better in these videos. So basically, how it's gonna work is we're basically gonna end up. So how it is gonna work now is we're gonna start in the west. The weather forecast, we're gonna start in the west. Then we're gonna work our way east and also south and also north because we have to get the entire U.S. all the way until we get to the tip of Maine and the tip of Florida. So basically, we're going to be starting with the Northwest area, basically Washington and Oregon over the next 7 days. So today it's going to be pretty nice for Seattle and Portland. The only thing that should be happening is sun, and the temperatures, they should be some in the 50s, maybe even the lower 60s the further south you get into Oregon, especially Medford, that area, right where my cursor is pointing, right in this area. It could possibly get up to 60 degrees. Now, over the next 7 days, a lot of things is going to be happening. A lot of things are going to be happening for sure. So, we're going to get rain on the 11th for much of Seattle and some light rain for Portland. That's going to go all the way down south to Eugene and maybe even the tip of northwestern California, but it shouldn't reach to Medford and it shouldn't reach anywhere south of that. But that rain is just going to be lingering until the 12th, and then that system will finally move out. But there will be some snow in the mountains. We could see a little bit of snow. So here is the total snowfall. So from this storm, in the mountains of the Northwest, we could expect so in the Cascade Ranges from northern Washington down to southern Washington, we could expect anywhere from half an inch in the mountains all the way up to about 2 feet in some very, very isolated areas, especially in northern Washington. Then, as you get down into Oregon, you're not going to be getting much snow. You could get up to maybe 4, 5 inches near the Mount Hood area, but for the most part, it'll be pretty quiet in terms of snowfall. Then, as we get back into sun, another rainstorm will come, and it will come on Valentine's Day. And this time, it will dump a lot more snow. And as you can see all this blue in the mountains of Oregon and Washington. Now, Washington could get a lot of snow from this. Oregon and Washington, though, the coast could definitely get a lot of rain. And this rain and snow is going to be lingering until the 16th, until that system finally moves out. But you could expect up to about maybe, let's see here, about maybe up to 10 inches in the mountains of Oregon, and an additional maybe up to a foot in northern Washington. And then for southern Washington, you could expect an additional maybe 6 inches. So now we're going to move down to southern California. Now it is just going to be sunny and warm, almost reaching 70 degrees until about the 15th, where you could get some intermittent rain and snow showers in northern California. Now, that will linger until about the morning of the 16th, and it will be sunny for most of the 16th, but then a big rainstorm and potential atmospheric river will start to hit California, and we could expect a lot of rain and very heavy snow in the mountains from this. Now, we do have to watch this closely. This is a little bit far out. This is about 192 hours out to maybe about, let's see, maybe about 265 hours out. So we do have to watch this, but it's kind of uncertain what will happen because this is so far out. That is about almost 10 days out. That is more about 7, but yeah. So then for like the Denver area, Colorado and Wyoming, over the next week we could expect a decent amount of snow in Denver for today, just for today on the 10th. But that snow will start to move down into Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and we could expect a full on snowstorm potentially in Oklahoma City. Actually, we could expect up to a decent amount of snow from what this model is showing. Now, this is the GFS. We're not going to look at the Euro model today, but from what I am seeing, we could get over a foot of snow potentially in Oklahoma City. Now, I kind of doubt this will happen because this is very unlikely and this doesn't usually happen, but it could potentially happen based off of the GFS. But I wouldn't trust one model. So I'm saying you could get anywhere from about 3 in central Oklahoma and western Oklahoma. You could get anywhere from about an inch or 3 inches or 2 inches up to about maybe 8 inches or so. Now, northern Texas, it is showing up to almost a foot in some spots. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys in northern Texas got about maybe 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, but I feel like a foot is a little over the top. Now, in the mountains of New Mexico, it's going to be basically the same. Now, around Denver, you could expect up to maybe 3 inches of snow potentially. And as we work our way up into Montana and Wyoming, not a lot of snow is going to be happening. And as you can see on the model, this is what it's going to be looking like over the next 3 days or so. So we will get some snow showers in northwestern Montana and they will work its way into southern Montana, and they will keep staying actually until more about the 16th. And from all of that, once we get into that period, Montana and Wyoming could see anywhere from an inch just in the flat part to maybe about 4 inches. Now in the mountains of Wyoming, we could expect near Yellowstone up to a foot of snow in the mountains, maybe a foot and a half. Then in the mountains of Montana, aka northwestern Montana and Idaho, we could expect up to potentially a foot and a half to 2 feet of snow in some intermittent areas. Now, as we work our way into more of North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota, the weather's going to be fairly quiet over the next few days. Just going to be very, very cold in Nebraska, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa. But then we will get a few intermittent snow showers throughout South Dakota, central North Dakota, northern North Dakota, and central northern Minnesota, and then it may work its way into northern Wisconsin and Michigan. Now, some other snow showers will develop potentially in South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa that will travel down south into Ohio, but it shouldn't cause any trouble. Mainly, we're going to look at the snowfall totals. You shouldn't expect a whole lot of snow, maybe up to an inch or two in parts of North Dakota and Minnesota. Maybe up to about potentially 2.5 inches, 3 inches in northern Minnesota, or sorry, northern Michigan. But it shouldn't be a very big problem. Now we're gonna work our way into about Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Mississippi, Louisiana. It's gonna be pretty warm for the southern states, but then Missouri, Illinois, and Kansas, and maybe even a tiny tip of Iowa, they will be getting some decent snowfall. Now, on the southern side of that, near like Joplin, Missouri, Jefferson City, this kind of area in this red box, you can expect definitely some rain. It's not going to be a big threat, but I will say we could expect a decent amount of snowfall from this. As we look into about the 18th, you could expect up to a foot actually in central Missouri. Now, most areas are going to get about 6, 7 inches, but northern Missouri could get up to 6 to 7 inches in some spots. Most areas will probably get about 4 or 5 inches, and then it'll be about the same in southern Illinois. Now, that snow will work its way into Ohio. Now, we're going to take a look at that real quick so you can see all throughout much of central Ohio and central Indiana. They will be getting a decent amount of snow from this, and it will work its way into Pennsylvania and a tiny bit of northern West Virginia. Now, the snowfall totals from this, um, in southwestern Ohio and southeastern Indiana, you could expect up to 1.5 feet in some spots. Dayton, Ohio could potentially get up to 1 foot. Now, I think it's more looking like the central, just a tiny little sliver of central Ohio will get a lot of snow. Especially this area like Akron, maybe a little bit in Cleveland, not a whole lot, maybe up to 3 inches at the most. Maybe up to about 10 inches, 9 inches, 8 inches in Columbus, Ohio. Now, as we work our way into more southeastern Ohio, you could get anywhere from an inch to about 5 inches. Now, northern Pennsylvania and southern New York, wow, they could get anywhere from actually about 2 inches of snow to about 16 inches of snow, especially in northeastern Pennsylvania. It'll be the same for New Jersey, except the southern part of New Jersey, no snow. The northern part, potentially up to about 8 inches. And southwestern New York, basically the same as Pennsylvania. Now, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts, you guys are going to get dumped in with snow. Now, the only parts that should get snow in Vermont and New Hampshire are going to be the central and southern parts. The northern parts won't get as much, but they could expect some. Maine will not get much. It will be very cold. Now, this is through the 17th, by the way, for the entire northeastern and southeastern Midwest. But in the South, we could expect a whole different story. It is going to be very warm, but I'm talking about the Southeast. We are going to get a big rainstorm actually starting around the 15th in southern Texas, all the way through North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, that entire area. And this is going to linger through the coast until about, let's see, about the 19th. Now it will start, so our first round of rain will start today, and it should end sometime around the 13th. Now we have our other wave of rain starting up on the 15th. It will start in South Texas, but this is how much rain we could expect from the first round of rain. So for the first round of rain, we could expect about potentially up to about 3 inches, 4 inches at the most, especially in like Tennessee, southeastern Arkansas, northern Mississippi, northern Louisiana, northern and central Georgia, almost the entire state of South Carolina, the entire state of North Carolina, and very southern Virginia. Now, including our second round of rain, we could get up to about 4 inches in Texas, but actually more like 2.5. And we could expect almost 6 inches of rain from these two rounds in South Carolina, Georgia, and the very, very small part of southern North Carolina. Then anywhere from about 2 to 5 inches for the rest of Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Virginia. Now, Florida, you guys will not be getting much rain, anywhere from no rain to about 2 inches of rain for most of the part of Florida. Now, for the panhandle, you could expect anywhere from 2 to about 3.5 inches of rain at the most. This will be a very big storm. Now, the Northeast, it should be the exact same, maybe up to 2 inches. Some of that might be snow because this is snow and rain. But for the South, none of that will be snow. You guys should not get a lot of rain in the Northeast, but you could get up to potentially maybe an inch and a half at the most. Now, let's just go out into the future. this is what it is looking like so far in terms of snowfall across the US. Now, I wouldn't trust this. This is way out in time. But northeast, it is showing a lot of snow activity, so you guys could prepare for that over this month, which I do think could happen. A few nor'easters could potentially happen. And then I would prepare for a lot of snow in the Sierras, the Cascades, and the mountains of Idaho and Montana, especially Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. And the Midwest won't be getting a whole lot of snow. They could expect a little bit of snow activity. Northern Michigan could get some snow activity. But in terms of rain and snow, mostly rain though, we could expect a lot of rain activity, especially in the southeast and east. Then a lot of rain on the west coast, especially in like Oregon, mostly Western Oregon, Western Washington, and it's much of Central California. Not much in the southern part, but a lot in the northern part. So, yeah, that is all for today, everyone. I really enjoyed coming back to do a weather video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please share this video with family and friends and like the video. Thank you for your support, everyone, and bye.